Okay, right now, I would like everyone's attention. There are two things, actually three things, that each of you needs access to right now. And I'll pause for a moment and wait while you make sure that all of those things are prepared. You're going to need your folder that has your pockets inside it. Obviously, your note cards are there as well. In addition, you need a pencil, and you need an active expression. Now, we're not sure whether we'll be using the active expressions or not during this lesson. Mr. Talbot and I are just going to kind of co-teach this, and if there comes to a place in which it makes sense to use the active expressions, we will, but we're just going to kind of see how that goes. Inside your folders right now, all of you should have your calendar. And today's lesson, if you were to look at Friday the 6th, it says there are 5 note cards due. Who can raise their hand and tell me how many note cards you should have at the end of the day when you go to bed tonight? How about just a choral, everybody? 5, 10, 15 is what I count. I'm hearing 20, but if you count 5 on Wednesday, 5 on Thursday, and 5 on Friday, you should go to bed tonight and have 15 note cards complete. Then here on Saturday, it says, are you caught up with your notes? If not, you should work on them this weekend. Now, one tool that's going to help provide you with support over the weekend will be this recording that Mr. Talbot's helping me to make so that we can post this online. We'll post the mini lesson on note-taking. And then when you're stuck at home and you just say, I don't get it, you can read this and look at it and remember the lesson from today before you call me on the phone. But what you can't do is come to school on Monday and say, Mrs. Hodgins, I don't have the note cards done because I didn't understand it. That's not going to fly with anybody. We can double check the lesson, and you know you can reach me at both my phone and my cell number, and I'll get back. Now, if you contact me and I don't get in touch with you, whose responsibility is it? Mine. And then if you say, Mrs. Hodgins, I needed help and I couldn't get any, I will say, okay, I'm going to cut you some slack on that. But if you don't contact me, then on Monday morning you each have your 15 note cards done, okay? A little bit of the challenge for this particular unit is the fact that it's been quite a while since you've had note-taking skills reviewed. So we find ourselves taking notes while we're learning how to take notes. And that's probably not ideal, but it will work because I'm not going to be real picky about what those exact notes look like. We just have to feel comfortable when we're working with our materials that we're gathering enough information so that ideally, when we're all done note-taking, we can take the note cards out of each pocket and we would have enough information to answer the question on that note card with about 1 school page of paper. Ideally, our end product will be about a half-page introduction, 1 page for each of your topics, and then about a half page of conclusion. All right? That's what we're aiming for. How many note cards do you think it's going to take you if you just write on one side, on every single line without skipping, to rewrite and create 1 page of notebook paper's worth of material? What do you think? Talk about that in your group right now. Okay, can I have your eyes back up front, please? Nicely done here at this table. Nicely done here. Thank you. Melissa, what do you think? About 6 to 7 note cards is what she thinks she would need to rewrite her phrases and her words into a 1-page document. Go ahead, Ashland.
I think about 5.
Maybe 5. And Charlie? Yeah, I think if you write a lot of note cards you're going to be in real good shape. And 5 or 6 might just do the trick. Today's lesson, we'll continue our look at note card taking, but I wanted to review one thing I've already talked about. Yesterday, when I started note taking, we looked at the handout that looks much like this that each of you has in your folder. And we're going to do this again because we didn't have enough time to bring completion to it yesterday. Before I looked at this text, I showed you, in my class it was Alden's note card, and I don't recall which one I used or if I did in Talbot's. But Alden started his note cards in a way that's different than this one will look. In Alden's case, can I have that, kiddo? And I probably, Mr. Talbot, if you can help me with the dot cam, do we have to switch out?
I can give it to him. Actually, let's just go blank for a second here, and we'll
Okay.
show the class what the notes look like.
All right.
This won't be on the recording, but they'll still be able to see it.
So this is the one we're looking at here, the one that said topic spiders. When we looked at Alden's sample of his note card, there were no spaces anywhere at all on his note card. And I shared with you that when I take notes, that's the way I do it also. I'll start right over here, and if I'm writing about heart disease, and my question is, what causes heart disease? I might write a little note here that says, if you have too much fat in your diet, that's bad. And then I might leave a little bit of a space, and then the next time I found a word or a phrase that answered the question, how do you get heart disease or what causes heart disease, I would just keep going and I would fill that up. My note card would be full from left to right on each line with phrases and words and abbreviations about what I was reading. This, however, is another style. I don't care what style you use. If you do a style like this, you might have, wow, I don't know, even 10 note cards. It could take a lot if you've got this much space. But if you do it like Alden did it, and the way that I prefer, you might get by with 5 or 6 note cards. Okay, one more issue I want to talk about before I look at pulling apart this text. There are 2 ways that we can take these notes. When you have a textbook in front of you, or you have an internet article in front of you, if you want to just work with one question at a time, you can take the note cards out of that pocket, remember the question, and read every single page, and as you find notes or phrases or words or abbreviations that will help you answer that question, you can just write them down about that one question at a time. The other way to do it is to open up that folder, be aware that you're working with 2 or 3 or 4 topics, and as you're reading the material, stop and say, oh wow, this phrase answers question number 1, or this phrase answers question number 2. And you can work with all 2 or 3 or 4 topics at the same time. That just kind of depends on your personal learning style. So take a moment now and let's have this group. Austin, you can join the girls here. Let's have each table group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, take turns and just talk for a moment about which style you think you might prefer and why that kind of just suits your learning a little bit. Are you going to fill the card, or, are you going to work with one question at a time, or are you going to work with more than one at a time? Talk about that and develop your strategy. Can I have everybody's attention? And I'll see if we can't make this work so that both classes can respond to the next question. I have 2 questions for you. The first one is this. Do you prefer to take your note cards the way Alden does, when you fill up every single line with data, or do you think you prefer to take your notes on your note card when you're working with a little outline and writing down the main idea of the paragraph and the details underneath it? Now, if you prefer the whole card, you'll hit A. So, oh, and I forgot the timed response. Okay. All right. So what we've got then is 76% of us preferring to work with our note cards and just fill them. And we've got about 24 that at this point think they might like to experiment a little bit with more of an outline form on the data. Second question then is going to be, while you are note-taking, are you going to focus on answering one question at a time and just finishing it up and being done with it? Or do you think you'll work with all of your questions at the same time, or what we'd call simultaneously? A means you're going to work with one question at a time and complete it, and B means your particular learning style would allow you to choose the strategy where you're working with them all one at a time. Got it. Okay. You want more of that, so you want to just bump me up?
I think there's probably still people that are answering.
Yeah.
10 more seconds.
Okay.
This one takes a little thought.
This is fun for me to do, Mr. Talbot.
Good.
Okay, so this is a little bit more evenly split. About 56% of us are thinking, wow, I just want to get that one out of the way and done. But about 44% of us are thinking, you know what, I'm just going to read, keep all of those questions in my mind, and as I find data to support each one, my learning style says that I'm most comfortable answering the question like that. Okay. Alrighty. With that in mind then, we can move to the handout that we looked at yesterday, and we're just going to talk about note-taking. This is the most critical part of the lesson, and when you're with mom and dad over the weekend and you want their support, this is the part that you can fast forward to. So, irregardless of whether you have text from a book or you have text from internet data that you printed, whether it's coming from an encyclopedia or a magazine article, we know that every single paragraph is going to have a main idea. When we open up a book like this, can I have endangered, please, Erica? The wonderful thing about a book like this, or any of the others that you kids have checked out, is that there are topics up at the top. And if the topic has anything at all to do with the questions you're answering, you know this would be a good thing to read. But if it's not related to your questions, you just get to move on and keep turning this book until you come to a title or a topic that relates to your question. So do you have to read your textbooks or the internet data from cover to cover? No, you probably won't have to. You can use the table of contents to help you locate questions that are going to be helpful. So let's say that you're doing a report on guitars, and you found this great information about guitars in your, your book, and it's time to start taking notes. Guitars have been used for thousands of years around the world to create all kinds of music. These stringed instruments come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and they produce different sounds. Now, this first paragraph I'm going to do by myself. The second paragraph I'm going to get your support on. We'll do it together. And the last couple of paragraphs, if it works, maybe we can use our active expressions again to find some of these details. The main idea of this first paragraph is guitars. I'm going to write that here. And then what I'm going to try to locate are all of the details that support guitars. All right. have been used for thousands of years around the world. Yeah, that tells me more information about guitars, and I could use that in my report. Now, I don't want to write all those words because two reasons. One is it's cheating. I'd be just stealing those words from another writer and then turning around and putting them in my own material, and that's cheating. It's called plagiarism, and you get in big trouble for doing that. But also, if I did something like that, it would take me a long time, and I don't need that either. I want to get through this so I can play soccer over the weekend. So I'm going to write down bullet, used 1,000 years. And I'll remember that. I'll remember when I look at that note, oh yeah, that's what he meant. Create all kinds of music. All types of music. I'm even going to kind of change this word kind so that it reflects more of my language instead.
When you do it, you can, if you underline it, they'll see what you're pointing at, and then we can erase it. But
Okay.
if you don't underline anything, they won't be able to see what.
Okay, I'll go back under it then. And then stringed instruments come in a variety of shapes and sizes. I'm going to write stringed instruments. Strings is even shorter. Shapes, sizes, sounds. Shapes. I'm going to try to squeeze this in here. Sizes and sounds. Because it doesn't need to be real neat and tidy. I just need to be able to read that. So, guitars is my main idea. Thousands of years. Create all kinds of music. Stringed instruments, shapes, sizes, different sounds. Those are the key supporting data, the details that supports my main idea about guitars. I think I'm going to go up and erase this then, and we'll look at the vihuela. So now I'm going to get some support from some of you. This is the vihuela or Spanish guitar. I'm going to call this Spanish guitar. That's going to be my topic. Okay. Now, my details. Talk about the details in your group, please. What do you think they are? And how do I pause? Green button? Okay, got a blue button ready to go on. All right, what I'd like you to do then is if you feel confident, you can raise your hand. I'll start calling on individuals who are behaving appropriately. Come on up. Underline what you think might be another key detail. And choose a new color before you do. Once you underline it, come on over here, and you can write it down here in the bullet. So, let's see. Jane, come on up.
Just watch this part when you, like when they come up so they don't step on it.
Alrighty.
Here's the other pen.
Okay. All right.
Same color right now.
Do you agree? I do too. I think shaped like a fish is a good detail. Go ahead and write that up next to the bullet, Jane. And who's got another one? Or even shaped dash fish. That's okay too. I bet you'd remember that that means shaped like a fish. Fish shaped. Yeah, that works too. Okay, thank you. Why don't you go give the pen to someone else? All right, Miss Rachel. Looking for another detail that supports the main idea of this paragraph, which is Spanish guitar. So she's going to turn that to red. Okay, now let's ask a question here for a moment. Rachel's definitely on the right track. She's almost got this. She needs a tiny bit of support here. She's got modern classical guitar. But there's one more key word in that detail that she needs. No, not the. It comes before the. And it's not of. Can you guess? You want to turn to somebody out in the classroom for support?
Mary.
What is it, Mary? Ancestors. Absolutely right. Because the Spanish guitar isn't the modern classical guitar, but it's the ancestor of it. So would you like to please write up there under a new bullet? Perfect. And Rachel, we're going to write ancestor, A-N-C, T-O-R. Good. And how about, do you think if you wrote M-O-D period that you'd remember modern? Or do you think we need to write out that whole word? The whole word? Okay, let's see if we can't write next to it modern, classical. Let's write modern there. Good. O-D-E-R-N. Good. And how about classical right under the A? That way we know it's still part of this detail. A-S-S-I-C-A-L. Okay, let me ask you this. If she writes a G down, will she remember that for guitar? How many of you think she can write a G down? How many of you think we still need the whole word? How about G-U-I? That's a good compromise.
Because you guys, does somebody else need to understand these, or do you need to understand these?
Yeah.
You need to understand it. So as long as it works for you, you don't have to have somebody else be able to read it.
Yeah, the point was made that as long as you can understand your note-taking and your abbreviations and the phrases that you choose, you don't need to worry about it. You just have to understand it on your own. Now, Rachel, let's go and find someone that's not in your classroom and pass the pen along to them. And whomever gets the pen, you want to come on up and find another detail for me. Yes. Got a question?
It says only basically the first sentence of the Spanish.
The vihuela, a Spanish guitar, is the ancestor of the modern classical guitar. Okay, now, I'm not sure that I understand the question, Autumn.
Because then it says in Portugal you will find a ratio guitar that is shaped like a fish. These are different guitars.
Ooh.
There's one
And Chris says there's one more. Hold on, take a seat just for a moment, Thomas. Chris says there's one more.
When I read through it, I found another one further down.
All right, so should Spanish guitar be our main idea? Ooh.
Types of guitars.
Types of guitars. Ooh, I love that. Someone said foreign guitars. Excellent. You know, I feel great about getting those responses because that's what you're telling me is that you're breaking down that paragraph really, really well. What I'm hearing you say is that Spanish guitar is one detail about types of foreign guitars, and that Japanese shamisen are another detail about foreign guitars, and that finally, what's the other one, Chris? Portuguese, or in Portugal, we have the what do you think, Giovanna? Rajau? Okay, so maybe what we need to do is write down these are details of the details, right? So we're breaking this down into even smaller parts here. Thomas, I'm going to have you keep looking for information on the Spanish guitar, please. And then we'll move into the Portuguese guitar. Are there any other details about the Spanish guitar? So do you think we're ready to move to the Portuguese guitar?
Yeah.
Let's do that then.
And we're gonna need to move something too.
Yeah. But there's not many sheep dishes for Spanish. It's in Portugal, and that's already there.
How can we fix this?
Oh, I know. You write Portugal.
All right, so we've got a detail under Spanish guitar that shouldn't be there. Can you remove that for us?
Yep. I can. Hold on.
Mr. Talbot's going to remove that for you.
Yep. Ungroup it.
Excellent. Good eyes, Autumn. Good eyes, Chris.
Mr. Talbot thought he could do it, but he may not be able to. So we need to erase it.
Okay. All right, all erased. So I think
And now we go.
ancestor of the modern classical guitar is our detail on the Spanish guitar. Thomas is going to start working with the Portuguese guitar right now. So I can tell we're going to have Portugal and then, a Portuguese guitar. We're going to have a couple details. We'll see if Thomas can find them both. And you said Rajau, Giovanna? Okay. All right, now let's line up under those bullets, under the ancestor. See where ancestor is? Line your bullet right up underneath the one that's next to ancestor. You're a stickler for detail. Excellent. Okay, let's see if Thomas breaks this down correctly. So one detail about the Portuguese guitar is that it is fish-shaped. And I, again, love how he's kind of changing the verbiage a little bit so it reflects his own voice. And do we have one more? Do we have the name of that? I probably should have kept quiet a little longer. I bet you could have figured that out.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, sorry about that. I kind of jumped the gun. All right, and then Thomas, we're going to do one more. So let's pass that pen off to one more student who can come up and finish that paragraph for us. Well, we've had two from Mr. Talbot's class. I'm not really counting, but you can choose someone from either right now. Just someone close. All right, Miss Katie, change the color for me. All right, so what is our third big detail about foreign guitars? We've circled it up there. It's already circled. Okay, now that's a detail that's even smaller that we need to write up on the board right now. But what's the third foreign type of guitar besides Spanish and Portuguese? There, we got it. How many of you are thinking that this is starting to make a little bit of sense? Yeah, I think we're going to have this down. I bet we just have to do one more paragraph, and maybe Mr. Talbot can help us figure out how to use the active expressions on that so we can kind of all participate on our own. What are the details, Miss Katie? We've got the Japanese shamisen. What are the deets? Long neck and square body. Let's get that one written up there. And underline, let's do our bullets right underneath, just like we do with multiplication. So Katie's going to write down long neck and square body. What's another detail that Katie's going to write down for us? Amanda? Tell me again in a loud voice that I can hear. You can just say it out loud. She'll write it down. Yes, it can be tuned to make 3 different kinds of sounds. Okay, we'll come back to that. Thanks for noticing that. So Katie's got tuned for different sounds. Excellent. Is there anything else left in the in the Japanese guitar that she needs to write down? Asia's found one. Asia, nice big voice. It's used to tell stories. Okay, now Miss Amanda, you said there's something else under the Spanish guitar that we need to write down other than it's the ancestor of the modern classical guitar. Oh, yeah. Now, we've already got the name of the samachan under the Japanese section. If you're going to tell us about the Spanish guitar, you need to go up there underneath the Spanish guitar. And it is VIH. Good. UELA. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Again, this format is more of an outline. Most of our class says that they'd prefer just to fill up all of the lines on the card. But even if we do it that way, this is still the way that it would break down. We're going to do one more paragraph in just a minute here.
All right, so I'm going to join a little bit, and we'll work on the next slide. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to erase this paragraph, which should come sometime today. All right, and we're going to go into the third paragraph. Okay, guys, we're talking about this paragraph right here. So what I want you guys to do first off is everybody read that paragraph, and you are looking for the title of the slide. What am I going to put as a title of the slide? Cameron, grab the lights for me real quick. You want to look to think about what the title of the slide would be, and you only want to give it to me in a word or two. You don't want to give me anything crazy or a long sentence. Literally a word or two once you've read it. Go ahead and text it in when you get a title for the next slide. If you're having trouble reading it, you can listen to Austin read it. Austin, come here. Or actually, here we go. If you're having trouble reading it, listen to right here.
Okay, folk guitar entertain audiences with stories and songs that encourage everyone to sing along. Many people enjoy singing. This Land Is My Land, a folk song written and sung by artist Woody Guthrie. Woody spent his life sharing musical stories with children and adults. Folk guitars have been strings made from a nylon or steel, and they are played by using a pick.
Perfect. Keep texting in that main topic for this one. You don't have all day. I know it takes a little bit longer to text, but let's get some more answers in there. I'll give you about 30 more seconds. The ultimate plan is I want to put a microphone that drops down from the roof over there so that it's not just my voice, but you can hear everybody's voice. I'll find you one. I'll find you a good one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got 6 more seconds. Hit send if you're not done. Remember, we're not looking really for spelling. We're looking mainly that we can understand it. Raise your hand if you need to hit send real quick, because I can hit retry and you'll get a chance. No. Is it still up on your board? And do you still have words on your screen, Austin? All right, I'm going to say no for right now just so we can go. Okay, guys, here's what we've got on the list. If we look at what you guys wrote, we've got folk guitars, amazing guitars, entertain, folk guitars, folk guitarists. Wow, I sense a theme. Do you guys see a theme? I'm going to say folk guitar might be the way to go. Okay. Say it. Raise your hand. Tell me that again. Who said that? Brenna? Okay, so you think folk guitarists. Okay, so I'm going to write folk guitarists up here. Now here's the next question that I want. I want you to look at this. I want you to find, now our topic is folk guitarists. Okay, so you need to find me a detail that is based on a folk guitarist, not a folk guitar. Okay, text me in really quick, short, 1, 2 word, 3 words maybe, something that would describe a folk guitarist out of that paragraph. Okay, so now I paused for a second so everybody could finish their texting. Let's see what you guys said overall. If we look down here, details about the folk thing you wrote are fun, entertain, entertainment, fish, 2 words, folk singer. Many people enjoy to sing music. People that folk songs play on their guitars, play a guitar, share music, sing stories. I see a couple that I like. If I look at it, let's see. I like Woody Guthrie, definitely. So congratulations, Taylor. Okay, so we'll put the Woody Guthrie on, and if we look and let's see, stupid. That's genius. Way to go, guys. All right, let's see. This song, "This Land Is My Land," is a famous one. This land is my land. Anybody else see another one that we definitely want to add under this folk thing? Yes, ma'am, Haley? Folk singers? Well, we've got guitarists. Well, maybe they sing as well. And I like the other one that you guys talked about, tell stories. Well, singing and telling stories should hopefully fall under the entertainment idea. All right. Amanda? So Woody Guthrie spent his life telling stories? Maybe I put that under? Telling stories. Can I add something inside of like that, Joey? Does that work? Like to add a detail into it? Yeah, what if I read another book and saw something else about Woody Guthrie? Could I add a detail back into there? Yeah, totally. So if I found another song that he did, I could write it right here. Or if I found another artist, I could write another artist onto the same card. If it really fell into the same card. All right. Guys, nice job today. You've done a fantastic job. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like you to do is grab your active expression, please, and tell me, if you go home this weekend, do you feel comfortable doing your own note cards? Do you feel comfortable doing your own note cards? All right. Guys, 7 or 8 of you guys still don't feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, you need to stay inside or talk to Ms. Hodgins or myself. At home, if you're stuck, you need to go do this again. Just go through the tutorial. Watch right through it. Even grab your piece of paper because you have this paper Ms. Hodgins given you, and go ahead and do it. All right, thanks. I hope this helped. And